Welcome everybody to ESC Fan TV. It's a Friday night and we're getting so close to Eurovision, aren't we, people? Oh, yes, we are. It's time for a party. It's time for 4 more songs. That's right. It's ESC Fan TV. You know what you're here for. Tonight, it's all about Norway. It's all about Israel. It's all about Bulgaria. And of course, it's all about one of the favourites to win Eurovision 2021. It's Switzerland, where it's bloody expensive, but it's a fantastic song. And we will come to it in a little while. We're going to say hello to our panel this evening. Look at these fine young people on the screen. Let's. Do you know what? We're going to introduce them to you very shortly. I think we just give you all a wave, shall we? For now, welcome to the show, everybody. Hello. I think I will say hello to my co-host, however. Hey, Tom.
Hey, Stu.
Good
looking forward to it. I'm in the chat room tonight. Already loads of people in there. Hello to everyone in there. Looking forward to the hashtag bants this evening. I think that's what's needed, isn't it? Bit of Friday night banter.
You've just created a new hashtag. Fabulous. That's what we like.
Why not?
Yeah, so we're going to start tonight's show talking about Norway. Actually, it was one of the most controversial songs when it won its national final. If we cast our minds back to, it feels like last year now, doesn't it? It's such a long time ago, to the national final. In Norway, we saw it was a straight fight between Kano with Monument and Tix with Fallen Angel. Norway do really well at Eurovision. They've been in Eurovision 58 times. They've won 3 times, last one back in 2009. Of course, with Alexander Rybak and Fairy Tale. This is Fallen Angel, and this is a really interesting song by Tix. It's a song about unrequited love, and it was originally sung in Norwegian in the semi-final, translated to English for the final. He's well known in Norway for being this fantastic singer-songwriter, but also well known for having Tourette's and OCD, and it's absolutely a part of how he writes and how he performs on stage. He absolutely loves and adores this song he's written, and you know what? Eurovision's now starting to like it, despite all the sort of negative comments that he had to endure. People are starting to really buy into this now, and it finds itself the 9th favourite to win Eurovision. We start with one of the favourites. We start with Norway. We're going to, do you know what? I think it's only right and proper that we start the other side of the pond this evening. We're going to go and say a very good, is it morning or afternoon, to the lovely Lena. Good afternoon, Lena.
Hello. Good afternoon. It is. The sun is out here.
Good to have you on the show. I wish it was still sunny here. It's getting a little bit dark in the United Kingdom. Let's start with Tix. Fabulous bandana, by the way.
I don't quite have the forehead, he has, but I'm doing my best over here.
Now, if you cast our minds back to the Norwegian final, most people were rooting for Kano. And this was a total shock. It wasn't a shock to a lot of our panel because we've been keeping a close eye on Spotify, and he was in the top 10 of Spotify for weeks, whereas every other artist in that national final had dropped quite considerably. Do you think people are starting to connect with this now?
I mean, I hope so. I mean, for me, it was immediate as soon as I laid eyes on him and the outfit and heard the song. I was just like completely like, this is it. This is it for me. Even though I thought the Norway final for me was the strongest final. There were so many songs I loved, but this was always like that cut above for me.
Yeah, and it's I think it's a real earworm, isn't it?
I mean, I defy the person. I will say I was very attached to the Norwegian version, even though I do not speak Norwegian at all. I just thought his high notes with the vowels in that version, with that production, the key change shifted a little bit. I thought soared a bit more, but I defy anyone to not scream this in the shower after you've heard it once.
Yeah, I agree with you. And Donna's nodding her head. We'll go to Scotland next, I think. I remember that national final in Norway, Donna, and the after show party that we did here, and it was pretty miserable, I have to say. I had to host that one as well. That was a hard one. But everyone seems to love this now. Tell us why.
I think it is a grower, definitely. And the fact that he has put it into English actually really suddenly made the connection a bit more, because you just think I know, certainly we were on the Norwegian stuff all the way through, and when I first saw it, I was not best pleased, I've got to say, because I didn't understand the lyrics, so I didn't engage initially. And I just thought, oh no, he's gone for a cheesy staging with the demons and stuff like that, and you just thought, oh God, this is going to be interesting. So it took a while to grow on me, and then when he said he was going to do it into English, I thought, oh yes, brilliant, this could work, and it really did. And the rhythms work nicely. It's kind of a boy bandish song, so it's quite popular. He's quite popular. He's got a look that a lot of the younger voters might go for as well as tapping into some of the staging things that some of the more quirkier fans of the contest might enjoy as well. So there's a bit of something for everyone, I think, in this song. He could do really well with it.
Thank you, Donna. Actually, I'm going to come to Univision all the way from Belgium, our first of two Belgium panelists this evening. And let's talk about the staging, Una. It's interesting when you see these national finals, and we haven't had a lot of them this year, in fairness. We not like a usual Eurovision year where we have tons, but Norway was a real treat. We know what we're going to get from Tix. And firstly, do you think there'll be any changes to the staging? Or do you think he'll run it exactly how we saw in the national final? And could that be an advantage or a disadvantage? Because everyone kind of knows what they're going to expect to see.
Well, I think he might stick to the staging he did in the national final, because I actually find it really funny with the super large wings and like the 6 demons running around him. Well, now it will be 1 less or maybe 2 less because the rules, But I think he's going to stick to it. Maybe pimp his outfit a bit. That would be nice. Like maybe take some other kind of wings, something, and maybe change it a little bit, but stick to the essence of the staging he did.
Are you looking for a few more sequins on his wings? Is that what you're looking for?
Yes, maybe some glitter, maybe some LED lights. I don't know, something.
I'm not sure you can bling that staging up anymore, can you? I mean, I remember thinking, I mean, there's not much place for him to go with this, really, is there? Or maybe there is. Let's go to Sean. Sean's nodding his head. Sean, are we going to see the same staging, or is he going to try something?
You know what? If he wants to get the fans on board outside of Norway, he needs to fly, doesn't he? Let's face it, he's got some wings. Let him fly off at the end. I think that'd be fun. Look, as far as the song itself is concerned, everybody pretty well knows that I'm a big Kano fan. So, yeah, I were a little bit cheesed off when this won. I think Monument was, to be fair, and I still think that it was a much better song, and I think it would have given Norway a better result in Rotterdam. I didn't understand at first the Tix thing because I didn't know his backstory. I didn't know about the OCD and the Tourette's. I thought it was some sort of gimmick or novelty act. And obviously, I really sympathise with him, and he's got a big following in Norway. But it's not a sob story competition. It's a song competition. And I do think that he's representing Norway at Eurovision because he's Tix, not because of the song. To be fair, I think if he'd have gone on and sung the phone book against Kano, he'd have probably won because he's Tix and he's massive over there. So I personally still find it middle of the road. I'm not saying it's a bad song. I find it middle of the road. I think it'll qualify just about. However, he's right after El Diablo, isn't he, in the semi? So you're going to go from that banger to that. So what's going to happen? I don't know.
Can I just say, if Tix ain't flying in Rotterdam like a Kate Miller Heidke flying through the sky, there's been a robbery. Let me tell you, I'm here for it. I am here for it. Talking about backstories, though, let's stay with that theme. I'm coming to David in Portugal. Good evening, welcome to the show, David. If we think back to previous winners who've had great backstories. Neto was one who won for Israel in 2018. Salvador Sobral won for Portugal with a similar backstory in 2017. Could this be something that really elevates Tix to potential Eurovision winner? I mean, he's ninth favourite, so there's plenty of money going on Tix to win Eurovision this year.
No, I think it's not. I think there's another song we want to talk about today. I think as more personal, as a more story, is more impactful to do well. But I think Tix will do well. Absolutely, I think Tix will do well. I don't understand. I know what's controversial if you his win in MGP, but I know it's a grower. I like the song. It's close to my top 10, but I think he can do well. I think we'll qualify. I don't know about staging, needs some changes as well, but I think he can do top 15 at least in the final. I'm not gonna say anything less.
Thank you, David. Can we pull that comment back up about, I can't remember who it was from, about the song starting after El Diablo, moving from El Diablo to Fallen Angel. There we go. Thank you, Vanya. It's a great comment. Thank you for sending that through. You got to love the producer's sense of humor, putting El Diablo and Fallen Angel back to back. Someone somewhere was having a real laugh when they did this draw, weren't they? Steve, if we think about the running order, it's position 9 in semi-final 1. It's in between, or sandwiched in between, Eleni of Cyprus and Albania of Croatia. And by the way, I would trade places with Tix in a heartbeat. Tell me about how this is going to go down in Rotterdam.
Well, I think it's going to qualify. I think it's catchy. It's a good song. It's not a brilliant song in my view. I think the staging is going to be so important, but I suspect he's going to stick to the staging he's done in the Melody Grand Prix. And I'm not sure we will see him flying, but I think that would be a great idea if we did. I don't think this is going to finish terribly well for Norway. And I'm a bit like Sean here. I think it was a monumental disaster that Kano didn't get through, pardon the pun. But I think this is good enough to get through to the final. And he sings it well. I'm not sure it's going to resonate quite as much as we might think it will because of the backstory. I don't think the backstory, most of the voters probably won't know much about the backstory. I mean, the clue's in the headband, obviously, but yeah.
And unless the commentators make reference to it during the, in between the songs, is possible. But thank you, Steve. Thanks. And also Belgium. We're moving to Alina next. Alina, you were on that show when we talked about the Norway national final, and you were particularly sad, along with one or two others. How are you feeling? Yeah, how are you feeling about Tix and Fallen Angel now? Have you warmed to Tix and can see this doing well?
Let me say there's still a love-hate relationship with it. Like, I love it when I don't see it. But I'm totally with Sean, like 200% share his opinion. Yeah. Sean said it all for me. I don't know, like, if Norway changes the whole performance, I could maybe be behind Norway. But so far, I don't see it qualifying. And I also showed it to some coworkers who are non-Eurovision fans, and they were not so positive until I said to them, yeah, okay, that is his backstory and all of that. And they were like, okay, yeah, I get it. So hopefully for Norway, they will say it before he starts performing.
Yeah, I think it's going to be all about how that story's built in, how the narrative around how that's presented, and I think it will do. I mean, if you think back to, I'm going to talk from a UK perspective, the UK commentary team, and also that week run up to Eurovision, we're talking about Salvador and his backstory in the same way that we heard about Netta and her backstory. So I think it's very possible. I wouldn't count this out. Tom, what are your thoughts, and what are the chat rooms saying?
Well, I quite like this. I think it's got a lot going for it. I think I agree with Donna in that I think the translation into English has made a better connection with the audience as well. Interesting to note, and I got this from the chat room, I've just been researching it, the Norwegian Grammy Awards are this evening, and Tix won an award there for Artist of the Year, so big congratulations to him. So I think that shows just how popular Tix is in Norway at the moment. Let's be honest, the reaction in the chat room is largely really positive. Lauren says, I really hope it qualifies. It would be a shame if it didn't. Marios, this will go big in the final top 10. There are some people, however, that have suggested that there could be a bit of a struggle there. As obviously, Vanya's pointed out about the running order. But do you know what? I reckon this is going to resonate really well. And I think this will stand out because it's different. And I think the staging will make him stand out. There were some comments about, is it too late to alter the staging? But I think in actual fact, that helps sell it. And I reckon this could do really well for Norway. And I reckon they're not on to a winner this year, but I still think they could be on for top 10.
Yeah, I think it's very possible. And certainly the voters, or certainly the bettors at the moment, think so as well. So that's Norway done. Now we're moving on to our Category 4 ESC Fan TV Awards. But just remind you that on the 30th of April and the 2nd of May, you can join us live as we count down 12 different awards. And you get to choose who wins. So we hope to see you there for the ESC Fan TV Awards. Huge thank you to Sean at the bottom right for doing all that fantastic graphic work. Don't forget, 30th of April and the 2nd of May. Tonight's category, or two actually, we have two. The first of two is the Elliot Harris Award for Best Choreography and Staging. Sorry, Elliot. He didn't realise until yesterday evening when I told him that this was all about him. So our panel is just going to quickly give us their choices or nominations. And we're going to start with Donna this evening. Donna, who are you going to nominate for Best Choreography and Staging?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say choreography is applicable in this particular one, but the sheer total production of it during the national final was absolutely amazing. And I'm not a huge fan of the actual song itself, but I'm giving it to Barbara Pravi, because that was just head and shoulders above everything else. It was just a complete package on the stage. The camera work was lovely. The lighting was gorgeous. So that is what I'm giving it for.
Thank you, Donna. Let's go to Jörna. Jörna, who's your nomination?
I'm going to nominate... Sorry. I'm going to nominate one of the Eurovision queens that participated this year in Melody Festival, Charlotte Borelli with Still Young. I watched that performance and I was like, ooh, yes. I really loved it. Like the way she was moving, the way everything was put together, it was really good.
Thank you. Yeah, it was really, really well put together. Alina, who's your pick?
Can I just say that I'm jealous at Elliot because he had an award named after him? I'm claiming that best man thing. Like my name has to be on that.
You mean the one where I forwent my nomination to nominate Eric Sada on yours?
I mean, yes, the one Eric Sada is going to win. That has to be named after me. No, okay. My nomination is also for a Swedish one. I'm nominating Tout. because that's just like amazing of the performance and the dancing, and it's just so moving, and like it's Tussen for me.
Thank you
And that
very
award.
much. Thanks, Alina. Steve, who are you picking?
I'm picking the Roop and Discotheque because that's the dance moves I think you cannot forget this year, and it's the opener, isn't it? The first semi-final. Yeah, I can't do that thing with the hands. I'm just it features fingering as well, doesn't it? It's
Takes years of practice. It does. Thank you, Steve. Sean, who are you going to pick?
Well, mine's another Melfest one as well, and it's Dandy Dancer, Danny Saucedo. I'd like a bit as Danny Sauce Door. Sorry. Because it was amazing from start to finish. You were watching it, and I was mesmerised at the way that the floor was moving, very Jamiroquai-esque. I absolutely love that stage performance right from the start, right to the end.
Yeah, it was. Well, you know how much I loved it. I'm gutted that it didn't do better. Lena, who are you going to pick?
I'm going to take it back to Norway with my girl Rayleigh in Hero, because, I mean, she brought butt cheek, she brought long braid, and she brought flash dance. Cannot deny it.
Yeah, she brought out Dragging Me as well. Absolutely agree with that nomination. That was fabulous. Thank you, Lena. David, who are you going to pick?
From Norway, we go back to Sweden. It's Alexander. I think he did very good choreography. I think one of the best choreographies from Elfed. I think he did well in his iterative dance. I think was very good as well.
Thank you, David. And do you know what? I've forgotten who I was going to pick. I'm going to go for Teflon Brothers featuring Pandora with I Love You. I can't believe nobody went for that. That's like the best staging of any song ever. Even though
I nearly did, actually.
You're not having Blast Mafian, Stuart. I thought you'd have had Blast Mafian.
Not today. Not today.
Can't we have two each?
I know this could go on this category, couldn't it? Best choreography, best staging. And the funniest part of it always, Elliot doesn't get to pick one. So, Tom, who are you going to pick?
I've gone for Terence James, Je t'aimerai danser.
Yes, you have.
There we go.
Yeah.
I thought there was some great staging to that.
Is there any backstory to that, Tom? You want to tell us about?
No, I just want to say that I thought it was, underrated and should have won. And who doesn't like men dancing on stage in kilts? There we go.
Yeah.
Could you repeat the title, please?
No, because I don't want to embarrass my French pronunciation any more than I did already.
Thank you very much, panel. We're going to move on to the second song of this evening. It's Eden Elena. I probably mispronounced that. Apologies, Eden of Israel. Israel have taken part 42 blimmin' times at Eurovision. They won 4 last time out in 2018 with Netta and Toy. I think it's fair to say that Aidan was the most distraught when Eurovision was cancelled. Hey, Yana, we can see you. And she was told live on air it was cancelled, but she was also told that she was coming back in 2021, which is fantastic. Set Me Free is a bop. Stop putting me off, you naughty panelists. Israel are in the second half of semi-final 1, along with Malta, Cyprus, and Norway. Israel are 12th in their semi-final and sandwiched in between Belgium and Romania. Aidan Elena. Let's start with Yerna, because she's been naughty, that we bring her in. Yerna, tell me about Set Me Free. What do you make of this? And how do you think this is going to do? You're on mute.
I know. No. I actually loved the first version of her song as well. So it was kind of an adjustment when I heard the revamp, but I also like the revamp, so no problem there. I actually really liked the high notes in the end because I'm a high note fan. I think it will do well. I think it will qualify. I don't know if it's going to do well in the final. We'll have to see who she's in between, but yeah, I think she's going to the final.
Thanks, Yoda. Yeah, I agree with Marius there. Israel is very underrated. I'm interested, actually. Let's come to Donna on this. Donna, how does it compare to Fakir Labir? Because they're both bops, both bangers, whichever description you want to use. And I got the impression she was a bit disappointed that this was picked as her song for Eurovision 2021. This has been revamped. I think it's phenomenal now. I think this is probably an example of how to revamp a song and make the most of her vocal ability. And boy, she's got to get those notes right, because if she doesn't, she's in trouble. But if she delivers them, this could go places. How do the two songs compare, and what are you expecting from Aidan?
I don't like to compare them, to be honest, because they are two very different songs. And I think I saw somebody mention in the chat that they weren't necessarily keen on her song last year, and I wasn't that keen on her song last year. But this one I really like. I actually preferred the second of her choices of songs that she'd offered up to the sort of national selection. But it's a great song. And yeah, I am a little worried for her if she doesn't get those high notes right, because they really are a show stealer. But I do like it.
Yeah, me too. Let's go to Lena. Lena, this is somewhat unfortunate in semi-final one, because semi-final one's, a lot of people say it's the bloodbath semi-final. It's the hardest one of the two. And after Israel, along comes Azerbaijan, which some people, me, are saying is going to do rather well at Eurovision this year. Malta and Alina and Yerna, they're all coming out now. They're all saying they like Azerbaijan and Malta. So those two songs come after this. Could that be a big disadvantage for Israel's chances of qualification?
I don't think Israel's going to lose any points with people because of Azerbaijan. Not to be a hater, as they say here, but I think this is very strong. I think she has a much stronger vocal than Azerbaijan. Maybe Malta's a little dicier, because it's very catchy and like amazing vocal. But I think Set Me Free is great. I think the revamp was, as you said, was like very well calculated. And I'm trying to think. I don't think it makes it more classy, but it makes it a little less formulaic than maybe the first version was. And I think she's going to look amazing on stage and have amazing style. So I don't think she's going to have a problem. But it is. I would agree. Semifinal one is rough.
It is rough, yeah. And they're just two examples of other songs which are heavily favoured to do well. Let's remind ourselves that Israel are 18th in the betting to win Eurovision this year, around 80-1 if you want to have a cheeky punt on Israel. Let's go to David in Portugal. It's a tough one, isn't it? How do you compare the two songs in terms of, and I'm talking about Set Me Free, the two versions, I should probably say. She's really gone for a bit of a risk, I think, with this now, with the real high notes. She must be confident she can deliver them on stage. Does this have the ability now to elevate Israel to much greater heights than before?
I'm not very sure about Israel this year. I love the original version better than the revamp, because I think I love the Hebrew part. I don't know if it's removed or not. I really like the original version. Revamp is a little bit downgraded. But yeah, compared to last year's song were one of my favorites. It was ethnic pop, the mix of different language. But this year's, I'm not very keen on this year's. I know Eileen is a great singer, but this song is just too generic. Bob, I know it is gonna have to Azerbaijan, but Azerbaijan will be more focused on choreography. I see this qualifying. Maybe this can qualify, but in the final, I don't know if she can do past top 20. But we'll see.
Thanks, David. Let's talk about the staging, because I don't want to be too controversial here. Bullshit, I'm going to be. But when I watch the music video, you get a really good feel for how choreography is going to be performed on stage in Eurovision. world, Eurovision land. There's not a lot of movement from Eden. There's a lot of movement around Eden. But I wonder how that choreography is going to work. She doesn't come across to me as the most comfortable dancer. She's a phenomenal singer, but I'm interested to know what the panel think about her staging. I'm going to come to Steve first for your opinion on this. How would you stage this, Steve?
Oh God, I wouldn't have a bloody clue, to be honest. You're well asking the wrong person here. I think in last year's song, which I thought was a lot better, to be honest. I still like this one, but I felt she was comfortable enough doing a little bit of a bop on stage. But so I don't think she's going to have 2 left feet or anything like that. And I sense that the video isn't actually going to give us a preview of what it's going to look like on stage. I think the staging will probably be completely different. And I'm not sure what that'll look like, but I think this is a great song, and I love the high note. I love a screamer at the end of the day, and I love somebody that can actually reach those really high notes. I think that's a good prospect in a really, really camp show. It's got to happen, really, isn't it? She's got to nail those notes. But she sang live last year, didn't she, in the national final, and she really hit every note. So I think she's a really good singer. I think she's got lots of presence, and I think she'll do well. I think she'll qualify. It is a bloodbath, that semi-final, but I think she'll stand out.
Yeah, I don't think there's any danger of her not connecting on the notes. I just think it's just how this is staged. I wonder whether this gives us any clues. Lightbox dancing around, perhaps. I don't know. It's just interesting when you start to think about how it might be staged. It could be quite creative on stage in Rotterdam, actually. Sean's nodding his head, which means I can go to Sean next. That's a sign of acceptance, Sean.
It is. I kind of agree. I was going to refer back to the first video for the original song release before the revamp, with all the sort of LED strip lights, and maybe they could stage it something along those lines. There's no doubt she can sing. There's no doubt she can dance. I wasn't keen on last year's song, Feka Libby, or whatever. I don't know if I pronounced that right or very wrongly.
I think you just swore, Sean. But
sorry about that. Whatevs. I thought it sounded like a junior Eurovision song, really, last year. I wasn't keen at all, but I loved this one. I really do love it. Even more so since the revamp, although they've got rid of quite a few double claps. I do like a good double clap. So there's still a few in there, but not as many as before. But yeah, I really, really like it. I think it'll qualify. I think it'll stand out because it's right after the yawn fest that's Hooverphonic. Sorry. But sorry, just my opinion. That's what we're here for. But she can sing and she can dance, and she needs some Lego on the stage to stand on so she can hit those high notes. And when she does hit those high notes, I think we'd all better be drinking out of plastic glasses, don't we, really? Because otherwise they're all going to go shattered. It's such a high note. I don't know how she can do it, but she obviously feels that she can, and she's confident to do so. She can sing, she can dance. I think she'll qualify.
And they didn't have those high notes in the original version, so that they've really kind of thought about this, I think. I mean, there was a comment on screen that said, is this the best ever revamp of a Eurovision song? I'd go as far as to say probably is. I mean, Albania know how to revamp a song. I mean, to the point normally that you can't recognise it from the original. Yeah. But this, I think, really goes places. Alina, this is in between Romania. Romania and Belgium. I just had to check for a second there. So you're going to be watching this anyway, because this is straight after Belgium. What are you expecting Israel to do at Eurovision this year? Can you see them qualifying? It's a real tough one, semi-final one, because there are going to be some big hitters that miss out.
I honestly don't know. Like, I wouldn't put money on it. I can see it go through, but then a lot of my favorite songs will not go through. I honestly don't know. But if it goes through and Belgium won't, I'm coming after you, Israel.
And Sean, I imagine, because you've just called your country a yawn fest. But we'll leave that in for the edits. They missed that, Sean. Apologies, I had to repeat myself there.
No, not Belgium. Belgium is at a yawn fest. I love Belgium. I just
Hooverphonic.
Hooverphonic songs. Sorry. And I forgot that we had 2 representatives from Belgium on the panel when I said it.
And they've bricked you in, Sean.
Sean, the music video is putting heads off. Just remind that, like.
Yeah, don't mess with the Belgians, Sean. In big trouble, my friend. And finally, Tom, coming to you. What are your thoughts on this? And in a year where we desperately just want Euro Club, we want to have a dance. This would have got me up on that dance floor in seconds. Let me tell you.
The thing is, the first time you hear, they're sending "Set Me Free," I just think of Entrance. Let's be honest, the banger from 2001 on the dance scene. But it's a decent substitute, isn't it? I like this one. I think it's got a lot to offer. I do think the trouble is, and this is the thing, isn't it? If it qualifies, it won't surprise me. And if it doesn't qualify, that's not going to surprise me too much either, because I think this is sadly going to be one of those borderline moments in the contest, especially where it's placed, especially where it sits. I think, it could go either way. It's going to be crucial that she hits those high notes on stage. There is no room for manoeuvre. She's going to have to deliver a flawless performance. The fact that they introduced them on the revamp is quite the risk. They've got to be pretty confident. They're either confident she's going to deliver it, or they're confident that they've got a videotape somewhere that's going to be played out due to COVID regulations, whereby she can hit those notes. If she does, then I think we could go big. However, I'm not entirely sure this is memorable enough to make it through. There we go.
What are you talking about? Belgium's right next door to Rotterdam, to the Netherlands. They could just literally walk there.
Ha. Ha, ha, ha. And there was me talking about Israel.
It's just... Oh, yeah. Whoops. Me not paying attention. We're going to do that bit out later. Moving on.
Stop drinking, Stuart. Stop drinking.
Some people shouldn't drink alcohol.
It's not. It's water. It's water. I'm drinking water. Honest. Moving on to
flavoured.
Yeah, flavoured water. Moving on to Bulgaria. Bulgaria are another favourite to win Eurovision this year. Victoria's back. Growing Up is getting old. And I don't know what people are going to say about this, but I think this is a fabulously well-written song. Since 2016, by the way, Bulgaria have made the final on each occasion they've taken part. And they've been at Eurovision 12 different times. Yeah, she's back. She was due to take part for Bulgaria last year, and Growing Up is Getting Old is taken from her current EP, A Little Dramatic. It's about overcoming anxieties, is the song. She's 13th in semi-final 2, which is sandwiched in between Portugal and in between Finland, two very different type songs. It is one of the favourites to win. It's 5th favourite to win, and 10-1 in the current betting odds. Journey to self-empowerment, about overcoming anxieties. Let's go to Sean first. Sean, if there's we're going to talk about 2 ballads tonight. This is the first of the ballads.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're on the.
I forgot which one. Yeah, go on. Yeah,
we're on the ballad stretch. How do you compare this with Tears Getting Sober that was due to take part for Bulgaria? Because that was, I think, if memory serves me correct, 3rd or 2nd favourite to win last year.
Yeah, and last year on the shows, if you remember rightly, I said it was magical. Tears Getting Sober, and it sounded like a John Lewis Christmas advert right at the start of the song, and I absolutely loved it. I like this. Growing Up is Getting Old. In fact, I agree with the phrase "growing up is getting old" because I'm 50 next week, and I still act like a big kid, and I will continue to do so. I'm not going to get old, so I'm not going to grow up. But it's nowhere near as magical as Tears Getting Sober from last year, and I think maybe placed between Portugal, which is a beautiful song, a very different song, and then you've got Bulgaria, and then you've got Finland's rock song, which is really just mental, get up and jump up and down kind of a song. I think it might get a little bit lost. It will qualify easily, but I don't think it's really got a chance of winning. But it's a decent song.
You think back to 2018 and Lithuania, Aiva. such a magical song. I just remember listening to it, and that wasn't a favorite, by the way, but I remember listening to it thinking, this is a beautiful song. And when she took to the stage in Lisbon, it just came alive. I just wonder whether Victoria can do that with this song. And there's something tells me that this has the ability to grow on stage in Rotterdam. Lena, what are your thoughts on this song, Growing Up is Getting Old?
I'm probably about to lose some friends over this one in the chat. So I still think it's the Billie Eilish off between this and in Romania. I will say last year, to agree with what was just said, Tears Getting Sober at first was not for me, and then it completely won me over by the end. I completely understood why the hype train had left the station. I think this is just kind of like a poor replica of a similar thing. She sings it very well. Especially in semifinal 2, there is a 0% chance this isn't going to make the final. I mean, it's a slam dunk for that. It's just not really for me. And I don't know, like, growing up is getting old. Growing up is like, I don't know, then my knees hurt. I don't know. It's like a young person singing about something. I don't know. I don't know. People love it. That's okay.
I think people love her as well, and I think part of that is probably because of her voice. She's got a very distinctive voice, and there's obvious comparisons to Billie Eilish, isn't there? There's clear comparisons. We made the comparisons in last year's show where we talked about the song last year, but I think you have to consider her as her own artist. Forget about Billie Eilish and say, well, how does this work for you as a listener? Does it tickle your heartstrings? Does it work? What have we got here? Sorry, there was a comment that was obviously funny. Can you put that back on screen, please? No,
I've got to find the first bit first. Right, there you go.
I spoke to a Bulgarian in Manchester yesterday, never heard of Victoria. Okay.
Yeah, hang on.
That's probably because he's a Bulgarian in Manchester. Never heard of James. Fair comment. None of us had heard of James Newman before Eurovision. Anyway,
it was worth sharing.
It was, yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you for distracting me from that. Let's go to Alina. Alina, the video is very 60s inspired. And do you think we might see that replicated into some of the staging in Rotterdam?
No, I don't think so.
And how do you see the staging being performed?
Why did you ask me so hard questions? I don't know. I'm not a part of
That's my job.
Shut up. Shut up, you know. I don't know. I think it would be a little bit mysterious, a little bit like she's alone sitting. Like I really don't know. It's like asking me the numbers of the lottery. Like,
well, that would be helpful. That'd be helpful. I could stop doing this bloody show then.
No.
I can go and buy my bar on a beach somewhere. Anyway, thank you, Alina. In terms of the song, though, do you think it's a clear qualifier?
Still me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. How much alcohol was this? Yes, I could see this qualified. Yeah, I like it. I'm a sucker for it. Like, I still think last year was so much better, but I like this year also. But last year was better.
Thank you very much, Alina. Let's go to Steve next. Steve, we've seen these types of ballads do really well at Eurovision. I'm just thinking back to the early 2000s. Do you remember Lisa Andreas of Cyprus?
Yeah,
and yeah, exactly. And that did particularly well for Cyprus. And that kind of came out of nowhere. This is really strong in the betting. A lot of people put a lot of money on this. And the staging has to be right. But if you think back to what Ieva did for Lithuania in 2018 with the holograms of, of her lover and a partner at the time, they could do something quite similar with this and really make this work, couldn't they?
They could. I think it's going to be quite a classy staging, actually. And I think there probably will be photographs, holograms and things like that. And just Victoria, perhaps, with a stand-up mic at the centre of the stage. She's got a beautiful voice. And I think I liked last year's song probably better than this year's song. And I think it's the better of the two Billie Eilish songs. I think this is stronger than the Romanian one, for instance. And I think Romania might actually struggle to get through. This isn't going to struggle. It's going to get to the final. And I'm not sure how well it will do. It's quite high up in the betting at the moment, isn't it? And I'm not sure I see this in the top 10, if I'm honest, because I got a bit bored of it. I liked it when I first heard it and then got a little bit bored of it and started to skip it. So a good singer, nice enough song, but it might get a little bit lost when it comes to the final, I think.
It could do, and I think that happened for Lithuania as well in 2018. They did pretty well in their semi, and then it kind of dropped off when it came to the final. Portugal, just before this, we'll see the Black Mambas with "Love Is on My Mind." Let's go to David. David, so you've obviously got interest in Portugal and how they're going to do, and this is one of the, in fact, one of the only times the EBU have decided to place two ballads, if you can call the Black Mambas a ballad, side by side. They've tried to space it so you've had ballad bop throughout the whole of the semi-finals. Do you think this harms either Portugal or Bulgaria's chances in any way?
I said I'm going to be controversial. I like this song better than Portugal's song because I love Victoria's song. Is my number one. Is my favorite. This song made me, when I heard it the first time. This song is very magical. It's beautiful. The story behind the song is just, oh my god! I really connected. Even though it was not my favorite of our choices, but my pick was Imaginary Friend because I can relate to it. But I also can relate to this song because I think this can be a potential winner. The staging will be very, very simple. And I love it. I love this song. This will 100% qualify. I think he's one of the contenders to win. Victoria is a fantastic artist. If you didn't see her concert when she announced the song, she performed very well in the acoustic version. I think she can do 100% very, very well for Bulgaria. I think Bulgaria deserves to win Eurovision, and I think this is one of the potentials to do it.
Thank you, David. Going to Yerna next. Yerna, how's this going to do in a tough semi-final? It's 13th in its semi-final. It's just before the Rockers of Finland. And we also have Switzerland in that same semi-final, which we'll talk about next. How do you see Bulgaria doing in this Eurovision? Everyone's certainly on the panel saying it'll qualify. I'm seeing comments in the chat room saying it might not. So, and you know what, actually, before I ask you, that's what's really interesting about this Eurovision. It's very rare to find a whole group of people say that one song's going to do really well. Everyone has a difference of opinion this year. Part group are saying this will do well. Part group are saying it'll do badly. This Eurovision is so bloody open, isn't it? Anybody could win it. Now back to Bulgaria. What are your thoughts on how they're going to do?
Well, I'm going to say I preferred her song last year. In my opinion, it was so much better. When I heard this song, I first heard it on ESC radio when I was working. It was on, and a few of her songs are playing. And in my opinion, this was one of the lesser songs. It's before Finland. It might be a problem for her, but on the other hand, it's behind Portugal, which is not that much better in my opinion. If she qualifies, because I think she might not qualify. If she qualifies, I don't see this winning. It's not a winning song for me. And I'm going to quote my mom on this. When she heard the song for the first time, she was like, what the hell? This is so boring. Put on the next one. So, sorry.
Thank you, Yerna. And Sean, this is every bit a qualifier, in my opinion. But it's interesting to hear not having the same opinion there. Echoing what I said before about Eurovision being just so open this year. What are your thoughts on Bulgaria? Is this a definite qualifier for you, or a maybe, or a miss out?
Well, you came to me earlier, but I'll go through it again if you want.
This is going well tonight, isn't it?
And you're back in the room. But
how's that flavoured water, Stu?
But basically, I do think it will qualify. It's a good song. It's nowhere near as good as last year's, like I said. And I'll have whatever you're having, Stu, please.
The funny thing is, right? I'm going to share this with you. I keep a count of who I've gone to.
Doesn't work. It doesn't work. You need
Right.
What he says.
Thank you very much. Tom, help me out. What the chat room's saying?
There's a lot of love in the chat room for this, let's be honest. But to be fair, there's also some people that think this might not qualify. Lauren says, it's nice, but doesn't make me feel much. Whereas ESC Manga is like, I love Victoria. She deserves to be in the final. Georgina's like, Victoria's voice is my favourite in the competition. Whereas Marios says, I'm going to put a tenner on this song not qualifying. It's like Marmite. My personal take on this is I prefer Tears Are Getting Sober, and I'm trying to pinpoint why. And there is a really lush instrumental to this song, and it's beautiful, but actually overpowers her voice in some places. And I think this is one of the reasons why it's not as favoured as Tears Are Getting Sober from last year, because she has a really good sound to her voice. And last year, when you had that Tears Are Getting Sober and you had that melody and that really stripped back instrumentation, it really sold the song beautifully. And this year, I think she's just missing that. And it'd be lovely to see if they tinker around with the instrumentation on the stage in Rotterdam to bring that voice out more. Because I think, as you and Steve said, if they go for more of the vibe that Stronger Every Minute had with Lisa Andreas, admittedly, a long time ago now, 17 years ago, I think that this could go very well and it will blow Portugal out of the water. As it is, she's going to qualify without a doubt. Is she worthy of the place she currently has in the betting odds? Alas, I'm probably going to say no at the moment. I don't think she'll make the top 10 with this if she gets through to the final. There you go.
Thank you very much, Tom. We're going to move on to our second and final award of the evening. It's the Best Group Award, and we're going to rush through this because we're running out of time very rapidly. Start with Sean. Sean, who's your pick?
Kano, bye.
He said Kano, I think. Thank you very much, Sean. Yuna, who's your pick?
Go away. Yeah, Ukraine.
Go away of Ukraine. Thank you very much. Elina!
In case of losing my head, I'm saying Hooverphonic.
Yay!
There's a shock. I wonder whether David's going to say Black Mamba. We'll find out in a minute. Let's go to David. David, who are you going to pick?
It's that Black Mamba. I will skip Black Mamba. I'll go for another festival for someone. I will say Courage. I think they did really well. Courage alongside Romeo. I think the final performance was better and I really like it.
So I think you went for Caritas and Romeo with Saudade. Thank you, David. And Steve, who's your pick?
Well, my pick is Black Mamba. I think that he's an exceptional singer and I love the Portuguese entry this year.
Yeah, I do. Well, I wasn't on the show last week, but I'm a big fan of it, I have to say. And Lena, who's your pick?
Group life. Woo woo.
And finally, Tom, who's your pick?
It's got to be Arvingana.
And
Yeah, I thought
Donna.
you
Do
might.
I not get a
So am
go?
I. No, I haven't done mine yet. Donna, who's your pick?
Well, I was going to say Daddy or Gagnamagrit.
Glad it's easy for you to say. And my pick is, I'm going to go with Hurricane and Loco Loco. I think they're fantastic.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Loco, loco.
So yeah, vote for Serbia. We're moving on to our fourth and final song. It's Switzerland, and they are, well, Gijon Tears is back. Tout l'univers, the whole universe. Switzerland have participated 60 times and won twice, back in 56 and more recently with Céline Dion in 1988. They have, unfortunately though, only qualified 3 times since 2008. The last time was their last time out back in 2019 with Luca Hänni finishing 4th. You can't miss this song in the pack in any way, shape or form. Gijon's distinct voice is just to die for. I'm sure my panelists will mostly agree. We'll find out. Yeah, very interesting song this year from Switzerland. And they are one of the favourites to win again. Their third favourite at 5-1. Switzerland, Tout l'univers. Let's start with Steve. Steve, what do you think about this song?
This is my winner at the moment. I love this song. I love his voice. I love the way that the song moves around. I think it's a very, very clever song. And I actually think this is a potential winner. I know a lot of people are saying, well, it's too similar to the Netherlands, who won 2 years ago. But who are the voters who are really going to remember who won what at what stage? I think this could really stand out amongst what are quite a few bangers this year. I don't think it's an open and shut case, but I think for me this is my potential winner. But it could be one of about 5 or 6, to be honest. I think it's a great song. He's got a great voice and he can sing live as well. And it's John's Tears, apparently.
Is it? Well, thank you for correcting me on that. I just actually the video is quite dark. It's very. I don't know if anyone's watched the video. It's very, very interesting, and yeah, it's what's it? It's last on in semi-final 2, so people aren't going to miss this even if it's not for them. So I yeah, Donna, what are your thoughts on this? Do you see this as a potential winner for Eurovision this year?
Oh, it's definitely a potential winner, I think. It still has to battle its way through the semi, though. That's one of its biggest challenges, I think. It's in my top 10, although not my personal winner. His voice is stunning, isn't it? It really is gorgeous. And it's one I found myself waking up to singing in the morning and just lulling myself away with it. It's a gorgeous song. So I hope it does well. And it has every potential to win, certainly.
So the last winner in Eurovision was Duncan Lawrence, and there have been a lot of comparisons with Duncan Lawrence and this particular song being quite similar. And there's a lot of people saying it's a year for a banger to win, but this is such a fantastic song. Is there ever a possibility that this is not going to do very well? I mean, are we all pretty much in agreement that this is a top tenner regardless? Shake your head if there's anyone on the panel who thinks this is not going to do very well. No one's prepared to stick their neck out, as I expected. Okay, let's go to Jona. We've lost Lena. I'm sure she'll come back. Jona, let's go to you next. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, first of all, the title is pronounced Tout l'univers. And I preferred his song from last year a bit more than this one, but I think he will qualify and he will definitely be top 10, maybe top 5, maybe even win, who knows. It's just not really clear this year who is going to win, but I think he has a really big chance of doing very well. And I love the fact that the song is in French again, because why not? It's a beautiful language to sing in.
It certainly is. You know, in terms of the top 5 in the betting, or certainly the top 6 or 7, we've got France, we've got Bulgaria, we've got Switzerland all fighting out. Who do we think is going to finish the highest? Let's go to David on this.
Okay. Between Bulgaria, France, and Switzerland. Of course, you have another two. But I would say I think Bulgaria and Switzerland and France has potential to be winners. Of course, they will do that. But I think all three, I said Bulgaria is my personal winner. But the realistic opportunity in reality, I would say probably Switzerland will do the better because Tier's voice is very good as well. It's very unique as well, and the song is very well structured. I don't see comparison that a lot because it's a very good song, and I see this is a potential winner, yes, but it's not my personal winner, but it's in my top three, and I really like, and I think if I want to pick a top three, I would say France takes the bronze, Switzerland takes the silver, and Bulgaria takes the gold. But I think I will say probably is a potential winner, absolutely.
Thanks, David. Sean, how do you see this being staged? Do you think they'll keep it quite simple, like they did with Duncan Lawrence? And with Duncan Lawrence, we kind of had the video where he was rolling around in the sea naked and got everyone rather excited. And then Eurovision came along. He sat in front of a piano with a ball of light, nearly whacking him on the head as it popped down. I think Switzerland is overhyped. Thanks, Hayley. I was looking for somebody on the panel to say they weren't that keen on it. You should have been on tonight's show. Yeah, he's got a very unique voice, and yes, it will qualify. I'm a bit over it now. Oh, okay. Oh, look, they're all coming out now. Catch that moment.
Wrong.
Tom. Sean, tell us about this. How's it going to go?
You know what? It's simply spectacular, isn't it? His voice, just everything about it. But the staging, going back to your earlier comment, Stuart, I don't know. Is it just going to be a bloke sat behind a piano again? I kind of hope not. And if it is, will the jury really vote for that again? Yeah, it's a song competition and the jury really are supposed to rate the songs. But a bloke sat behind a piano again, I don't know. I love the song. I absolutely love it. And I really do think the winning song this year is probably going to be sung in the French language. So it's one of two. But I don't know. I love this year's contest because it's just so open. You don't know which way it's going to go, do you? Everybody might think, right, we're just going to vote for the party songs because it's been such a dreadful year for everybody. So who knows? We might be putting it up in San Marino next year. I don't know, or probably not. But this is simply stunning. I love the piano. I love the strings. I love the choir. I love the unique modern sound to it as well. It is standout. It's an easy qualifier. I think it has a really good chance to win.
Just thinking about the prospect of a San Marino win for a minute. And I mean, funnier things have happened. Yeah, there might be a street in San Marino that they can host Eurovision next year, I suppose. But yeah.
Senate's back garden.
Well, yeah, or Valentina might have to, deck her house out for one night in May. Who knows?
The queue for the toilet will be really bad.
Yeah, it certainly will. Anyway, Alina, Sean's just made a bold claim that the Eurovision winner this year will be one or two songs sung in French. Mm-hmm. Do you agree? And how do you think this will do?
Yeah, I again agree with Sean. Like, we all know that last year this was my favorite. Like, this was my winner, and I still have it in my top 2. So I'm really looking forward on seeing what he does. And I mean, also the fact he's cute. Like, my boyfriend is gone now. I can say that now. Like, I mean, it's a shame that my Swedish girl isn't here, but he is cute. I can't wait to see that performance. At a piano or not at a piano, I honestly don't care. And the fact that he speaks French, and I can't understand a word of French. Like, I'm a Belgian, but like French is like. But I can see this do well. I really hope on a good score. And no, I'm not drunk yet.
Thank you, Alina. So I just want Tom. Can you put Thomas's comment back on screen, please? Great friend of the show, Thomas. He mentioned we should stop with. I agree with you. We should stop with the comparisons with Duncan. They are two very different songs and vocals. I think the comparison really sits with two ballads potentially winning back to back. Two haunting ballads, and whether you agree that they're similar or not, personally, I don't think they are. They're both haunting. And to your point, Sean, about staging, when Guy Jean's Tears, or Jean's Tears, as I'm reliably told is correct, performed the song after Eurovision was cancelled last night. He sat in front of a piano or behind a piano and sung his heart out. Beautiful, beautiful vocal. But the staging looked just a very, very bit similar to Duncan Lawrence's in Tel Aviv a year before. So we'll have to wait and see. Alina is fickle, says the comment. No longer after Eric Sader. Yeah. He's old news.
Eric Sader forever. Just saying that,
Yeah. Exactly. Lena's on that same train. Right, Tom, what's your thoughts?
Okay, I've got a few thoughts on this one. Right, first of all, I totally agree with the arcade comparisons, but I'm going to say something about it in the fact that people need to remember that Arcade didn't win last year. Arcade won 2 years ago, and the average Eurovision viewer has a short memory. They ain't going to remember Arcade. They're not going to remember a ballad won the last time Eurovision happened, because quite frankly, a whole decade worth of stuff has happened in the last 18 months anyway. We've been through a global pandemic, for God's sake. This is an easy qualifier. I know people have said that, they're kind of over it now and things like that. The thing is, this song grabs you from the off. It is beautiful. He has an absolutely wonderful voice. And the thing about it, and the thing that people need to get their heads round, is the fact that the average Eurovision voter will listen to this song once. That's it. They ain't going to listen to it again. And therefore, they will pick up the phone and vote for it. And I'm going to come up with the most horrible comparison that I could actually think of. And it's the fact that Latvia in 2002 won. She delivered a great stage show. The song, to be honest, was shit. But people watched it. They loved it. It hooked them in. It got them. She got the votes. She won. And I can see exactly the same thing happening with John's Tears. I would prefer a banger to win. But quite frankly, if a ballad is going to win this year, I want it to be this one.
Thank you, Tom. They will, of course, reprise Duncan Lawrence's Arcade at the beginning of Eurovision. So the Eurovision fans will, and the non-fans will recognise that a ballad won the last time Eurovision was out. But you're right, it's been 2 years since Eurovision, and there's no reason why this can't win, and could very well win. But then so could France. But then so could... so could Cyprus, so could Azerbaijan, so could Malta, so could many other songs. Guys, who is going to finish the highest of tonight's entries? Very quickly, one of the 4 songs. Let's go to Univision first.
La Suisse.
Switzerland for Una. Sean.
Kano. Always Kano. Oh, sorry. Switzerland.
Lena.
I mean, I was going to say, if you wanted someone to lay into Switzerland earlier, I'll lay into it with you. No, but I agree with Tom. I think it's like, is it overrated? Yes. Does it have a serious chance of winning? Yes. So, Switzerland.
Thank you very much. Alina.
The hot guy from Switzerland.
So it looks like Switzerland have got it. Donna.
I'm just going to be different and say Tix.
There you go. One for Norway. Steve.
Switzerland.
Thank you. David.
I will say, my mind says, I'll go in with my heart. I'll say Bulgaria to finish highest.
One for Bulgaria. There's a few Bulgarians coming through on the chat room. Switzerland there from Thomas and Tom. What's your pick?
I've got to take myself off mute there. La Suisse, c'est la première chanson. C'est magnifique.
Thanks, Tom. You've been practicing that, I can tell.
Haha.
Guys, that's your lot for tonight. Join us Sunday, 9 p.m. Central European Time, where we will be concluding our reviews of Sweden, Germany, Slovenia, and North Macedonia, the wonderful Vasil. And then next Saturday, 24th of April, we will be doing a fun little thing on Twitch where we'll be broadcasting your top 40 best ever UK entries. And then, of course, the week after, we'll be doing all ESC Fan TV awards things, but we'll tell you more about that as we get closer to the time. I'd like to say a massive thank you to my panel this evening. Big thanks to Sean. And Sean, thank you again for everything you've done on the graphics for ESC Fan TV awards. It's incredible, my friend.
Mate. Don't be daft. Pleasure to do it. And thanks for having me on. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Big thanks to Lena, and have a wonderful day in America.
I'm from New York. Mwah.
Thank you to Univision, all the way from Belgium.
Bonsoir l'Europe.
And also Belgium. Thank you very much to Elina.
Thanks for having me. And don't forget that award thing, my name has to be on it.
Yeah, name it after me.
If Adios gets one, I want one too.
We're taking bribes. We'll post the link later. David, all the way from Portugal, thank you for joining.
Thank you very much, Paul, and have a nice week, everyone. I think enjoy your week.
Thank you, David. Same to you. Thanks to Donna, all the way from Scotland.
Thank you for having me, and I'll see you again soon.
And then it's just us Southerners left. Big thanks to Steve.
Thank you. See you all soon. Bye.
And thank you, Tom. I'm sure you've been having fun in the chat room. Tons of people with us tonight.
Oh, do you know what? Absolutely fantastic. Lots of bants, going on in the chat room. Great to chat with everyone. And I look forward to seeing you all on Sunday as well.
Until then, have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you Sunday evening and enjoy yourselves. Be safe. Bye-bye for now. Mwah! Bye-bye.